Chains rattle broken, now we rise. Flag in my hand, stars burn the skies. Truth ain't dead, though the liars try. They scream loud, but the words all die. Guys watching hands, raise to the throne. Freedom ain't free, blood built this home. Continue freedom, keep it alive. Red, white, blue, we bleed to survive. Continue freedom, keep it alive. Land of the free, ain't bending the knee. Truth in my veins, it's all I see. Patriots roar, no fear in the fight. Continue freedom, stand in the light.
Okay, guys, goodness gracious, welcome back to another episode. Here we are, live again. Hit me up down in the chat. Let me know how you guys are doing tonight. We got a lot to talk about. If you're new to the channel and you enjoy the content, hit all the free buttons below. Very helpful for us in the algorithm. This channel is growing, and I'm grateful for it. I'm thankful for all the folks that keep coming back week in and week out. Before we get started, I'm going to pull up. You know, sometimes when you're going to talk about serious stuff every now and then, you got to hit a meme. This is one. Dan Crenshaw is going to be out. Jasmine Crockett out. Al Green out. This, sometimes I get these little glimmers of hope where I'm like, maybe things are turning around. Maybe the American people aren't buying into a lot of the nonsense that we talk about, some of which we're going to talk about tonight. And yeah, we shall see. We shall see. I've still got, I'm not a nihilist. I'm not a pessimist. I still have a lot of faith and confidence in the American people. So, we're voting out these numbskulls. Good evening, Day. Welcome, Tanya. Good to see you all down in the chat. Hey, sorry, by the way, for my regular watchers. I've been on the road. I'm going to be on the road again. So this will be my only live stream probably until next week. It's, I'm blessed. I'm blessed to have a lot of work, a whole lot of work. But let's get into the actual topics of tonight. And one of them is the SAVE Act. I'm going to talk about this. We'll do this as kind of our warm-up. Why the SAVE Act cannot be passed is absolutely beyond me. And I am horribly frustrated at the Republicans for not getting it done. This is kind of funny. Tim Pool posted this one, and it was originally posted by ALX. This is the Democrats, kind of their rendition of this. Chuck Schumer.
Yes, but their bill isn't voter ID, number one. It is about voter registration. It allows ICE to kick tens of billions of people off the rolls.
Tens of billions,
off the rolls, and they don't tell them until Election Day, and you show up and you say, you're not registered anymore. You're not registered here. You're not on the rolls.
Look, we've played this before on this channel. We're talking about, they're pushing back. The Democrats are pushing back against ICE being at some of the polling stations, at the voting booths. And even Kristi Noem, who is no more, at least in her original role at the DHS, was saying that, hey, we're going to have ICE agents at the polling stations. And this was, of course, the Democrats were just going absolutely nuts. They were doing cheetah flips because of that. And she made the right point. Are you expecting to have illegal immigrants vote in this election? So why would you care? But this is supported. Voter ID in the SAVE Act is supported by 80% of Americans, over 80% of Americans. And I've shown the polls time and time again. Even CNN has been forced to air this sort of thing, to air the polls that show this, that prove this. And the reason I see that you mentioned it down here in the comments, Tanya, is because, these are the types of people that we're going to get into office. This is James Tallarico. And why do we need voter ID? Because the Democrat Party
did they teach you in Sunday school?
Let me pause this. Puts up people like this.
Himself
oh my goodness. X-Player is a nightmare sometimes because they're putting up candidates like this. And when they have access to illegal immigrants, when they have access to non-citizen voters, this is the type of person that you get.
Did they teach you in Sunday school that Jesus Christ himself was a radical feminist? The American flag is such a complicated symbol for most of us. God is non-binary.
You can't call yourself a Christian and reject the stranger seeking asylum at our southern border.
Our trans community needs abortion care too.
Modern science obviously recognizes that there are many more than two biological sexes. In fact, there are 6.
Prophetic voices like Jesus have helped me reckon with my own whiteness. Our southern border should be like our front porch. There should be a giant welcome mat out front. We are trying to fundamentally change the politics in this state and in this country.
Yep.
No need to sit and cry over, your whiteness or your masculinity.
Have you noticed that even in the delivery, this guy talks like Barack Obama? His delivery, his intonation, the rhythm to his voice, all of these things are like Obama 2.0. I don't know if you guys have noticed that or not, but this is the type of candidate that will win because, unfortunately, there are a lot of limp, very weak Christians out here who buy into this type of nonsense. He uses it's Christian in name only, and they're sitting here riding the coattails of Christianity to try to get into public office, and it's not unlike a lot of the people that we're going to talk about tonight when it comes to Candace Owens and Nick Fuentes and people of that ilk. This is why this act is so important. These people will get into office. There will be illegal immigrants lined up at the voting booths if we don't do something about it. There you go. We'll grease the skids on that one. So let's get into our first, I guess we'll say our first grifter for tonight. We're going to talk about Iran. And actually, let me go ahead and get straight to the topic first. I'll backslide back to the Iran situation. Well, let me start by playing Nick Fuentes. This is, again, it has to do with Iran. Sorry, I'm all over the place here. This is Nick Fuentes. You guys know who he is. I've brought him up on this channel numerous times, and he's one of this new crowd who says that they are America first. They've kind of co-opted. Hello from Kim from New Jersey, or from Missouri, New Jersey. From Missouri, welcome, Kim. This is Nick Fuentes, and he is part of the crew that says, I'm America first. My priority is America. My priority is America. Yet, when we get into this conflict, which, look, we've argued here, there's pros and cons to what's going on in Iran. It's war. Nobody likes war. Donald Trump said it's not technically war. It's a military conflict. War can only be declared by Congress. We get that. But this is him taking an active role in eliminating a regime that has been funding terrorism all around the world. We can talk about it one way or the other, pros and cons. How this ends is what we have to keep a watch on, so on and so forth. But when soup to nuts, when it comes down to it, who are you waving the flag of? Well, Nick Fuentes and other people are not waving the flag of the United States of America. Flat out.
All the goyim here, because it's the open.
And by the way, I know I usually I give this disclaimer all the time. I try to keep it PG-13. Tonight it won't be because I didn't edit any of these clips. Straight from their mouths. Here we go.
Fighting for all the goyim here, because it's the open-ended question is, does Israel control the whole world? If Iran vetoes that, then the answer is no. If Iran falls, then the answer is yes. If Israel can destroy a regime that's fortified inside of a mountain behind thousands of missiles and proxies and 1 million soldiers, well, they could get anybody and they could have anything they want. And if they can't, it means the world is still free.
Okay, on this first point, his criteria is a U.S. loss. Israel's involved in this also. They are our partner in this conflict. If the U.S. loses, if we fail, that's his criteria for Israel not controlling the world. That you see how I guess nihilist would be the way to put it, or pessimistic. I mean, at the very least, he's saying that the only way that I will ever accept that Israel doesn't run the entire world, to include the most powerful nation in the world, us, is if we lose. So there's my criteria. Well, I think any reasonable person would say we're not going to. We're not, certainly not on a military level. We're not going to lose. On a PR level, possibly. But that's not the criteria he's using. He's saying that the Iranian people, if they can rise up and overthrow or hold back the U.S. and Israel, then I will go ahead, I will acquiesce. And I will say, you know what? Maybe the Jews don't run the entire world.
So I'm rooting for Iran to survive. I'm rooting for Trump to walk away. I'm rooting for deterrence to be reestablished. This is not a war, ironically, that we want to win. This is maybe a war that it's better if we lose. Better if we have a strategic defeat So I think the best case scenario now is for Trump to walk away. Walk away, be done with it. Destroy their military and then claim victory, whatever you need to do, and then walk away, be done with it. Put Israel in their place. And here's how you know it's really fucked up. Oil prices have skyrocketed. It's hurting us. It's hurting everybody. Israel is bombing Iran's oil.
We don't rely on Iran's oil supply. By the way, Nick Fuentes, this is spoken again. These are such isolated people. I don't think that, you know, for individuals that say they get out and touch grass, I have a hard time believing that they actually do. This is from a kid, and I'm going to call him that. It's from a kid tucked away in his basement who is entirely isolated from the rest of the world. I mean, I know, and he's smart. He's obviously a very smart guy. You know, are oil prices going to go up? They're already going up, and you know what? It's artificially being inflated by the oil companies here in the United States. It's preemptively raising the prices. Tim Burchett was talking about this today, that this is so nonsense. I'm going to keep going.
What are you going to do that for? Oil prices are $120 a barrel on Sunday, and we have not hit Iran's oil in the hopes that they will not hit our oil in the Gulf. And what does Israel do? They bomb Iran's oil, which makes it an energy war.
And what did, by the way, who did Iran strike? They struck Israel. They've been absolutely bombarding Israel. I'll show some video of it today. I think I've got clips. But they hit Oman. They bombed an oil depot in Oman. There's a video of a drone flying in and bam, popping it, taking it out. They're mining the Strait of Hormuz. They are the ones who like, for as many bad points as he makes, one good one that he made this was Jon Stewart. He said in a bar fight, which is how he equated this whole thing, that in this bar fight, you don't take a punch from somebody and then start hitting everybody else in the bar. And that's exactly what they've done. This is a last ditch effort to try and, you know, damage, whether it's, oil supplies, make these countries, these petro nations, make them feel insecure, to try and have an overall impact on the fuel supply, which there's already a video of China and the gas lines reminiscent of the 70s here in the U.S. already happening in China, because China does rely on the Iranian oil supply. This is why we talk about the second and third order effects of what Trump is doing, not being a negative in a lot of ways, because it is hurting China. China is reliant on, and so is Russia, in a large way, reliant on first Iran, but also Venezuela, and now we've disrupted all of that. Trump is thinking about this.
And you go, really? We're already fighting your war. The one way this hurts us is with energy, and they want to make it hurt for us more. They hate us. So it's time to be done and walk away.
Here's the other piece of this, that they want this. This is what they're going to continue to pitch, whether it's Nick Fuentes or Tucker Carlson or whatever. They are going to talk about, and Candace Owens, they're going to say, walk away from this, walk away from this. It's not our fight. You're just the goyim, as they like to say, because you're supporting Israel. And once if the walk off happens, and Trump just turns around because the PR is too negative, and he leaves this whole conflict, they're going to say, see, they expended all this money and didn't finish the job. So they're going to be hitting this coming and going. These are disingenuous people, and I know I'm imparting motive on something that has not happened yet. But when we watch people like Nick Fuentes shift left and right as they have, Tucker Carlson shifting left and right as he has, Candace Owens on another planet, these Marjorie Taylor Greene on another planet, these aren't moral principled people, or at least they don't act like it. We can assume that they are going to follow the public opinion. And if Trump walks away, they are going to be trying to shift people into thinking, well, he didn't have the wherewithal to stay with it. We look at all these billions of dollars we spent. By the way, the billions, somebody did the math, and it's less. We have spent less on this conflict in Iran than there was fraud in Minneapolis, just as an FYI. I don't know if those numbers are accurate. I heard somebody say it, so don't take that as a gospel. But I know for certain, myself included, that when we send our men and women into harm's way, I was of that generation. I was of the 9/11 generation. My units, we had soldiers. I knew people who lost limbs because of what Iran had pumped into the global war on terror, the EFPs that were hitting our vehicles, those were coming from Iran. Am I going to start whooping and hollering for a theocratic dictatorship to be winning? Megatron, I'm waving the red, white, and blue. And I'm going to be an honest broker, as I know you guys are. When Trump does something wrong, when the DOD does something wrong, we call it out. But you don't turn on your country. From a serious point, going to some of the memes, how are we doing? Let's just ask ourselves, how are we doing over here so far? Well, this is I don't know if you guys saw this or not. I guess the successor to the Ayatollah has been, I better turn that off, has been hit already. And this is what they did. They wheeled out a cardboard cutout of the guy. As soon as they appoint somebody, bam, done. They appoint somebody else, bam, done. I'm still waiting for the point that, whether it's the crown prince or whoever comes in as the transitional leader, I know we're still a little ways away from this, but I'm looking for more of that. I want to hear more of from that person. I haven't seen a whole lot. You guys can let me know down in the comments if you had. We need to keep our eyes on that kid. Schwimmer, Kia. I don't know who that is. Kia Schwimmer is Nick's new gooner. I don't even know. I saw a little bit of time. I'm trying to read your handle down here in the chat. But anyway, this is how it's going in Iran. They can't even bring the guy out. Allegedly, he is unconscious somewhere. So I guess a strike. They found out who it was, where he was, hit him, and now he's incapacitated, but he has been appointed. This was if you haven't followed the Associated Press, Fress, it's a spoof account for Associated Press. And they said reports claim Iran has stockpiled enough flat pack Ayatollahs to last for decades. The memes, just like my feed was entirely filled with memes. Somebody said that this is going to be a little bit at a time. There you go. A little bit at a time. Got you down in the comments. But this will be Tucker's next guest. The Babylon Bee posted this one. Sorry, I have to show a couple of memes on this. Tragedy, new Ayatollah dead after being accidentally left out in the rain. They kind of write themselves. Lyle Culpepper wrote a song about it, but I won't play it. Maybe I'll play that one later. I've said this before, but we have to be careful also about the AI video. So AI video, this is one that was posted recently, and people, it's 40, how many million views? So now it says that, so this originally wasn't community noted. It's at 5.7 million views. And people were asking Grok, is this real? And it said, yes, this appears to be a real video. And come to find out, if anybody who watches this, when I saw it, I was like, wait a second. Wait, that's the, watch this guy hit the, so you see the soldier. You have to watch so close because the AI video is getting great, but it's being published by an account who's obviously pushing pro-Iranian content. Real content would be something like this. This is so this is us hitting what allegedly, this is Vicegrad 24. They say that it's a ballistic missile depot in the mountains northwest of Tehran. Allegedly, they used a Moab, which is my understanding is the largest conventional munition, I think, on the planet. At least in our arsenal, this is the largest one that we've got. We've taken out tens of their ships, 60 some odd ships, I believe, recently. The Navy is almost entirely depleted. As soon as they're launching rockets, we're taking them out for the most part. However, there has been some footage, and let me see if I can pull this up for you guys. Let me go here. The footage of Israel getting absolutely rocked from some of the, I believe it's the Hezbollah rocket sites. So we talked about the preemptive strikes that were conducted by Israel prior to this whole operation kicking off, and recently in a night attack. Let me see if I can find it. the skies, here it is. The skies were absolutely lit up in Israel. And, that wasn't the one. Let's go back. Where was it? Yeah, here we go. Let's pull this up. So this is part of the reason that the Trump administration and everybody else was saying a strike now was prudent. It was the time to do it if we're going to do it at all, because Iran has been building up their stockpiles of conventional ballistic missiles. It's a ratio of missiles to interceptors, ballistic missiles, rockets, whatever they've got, compared to our interceptors, Israel's interceptors. Do we have more? And this is what they've been doing, is churning them out, multiple rockets a month. And our rate of building interceptors, according to the reports I've seen, has been lower than the number that they are producing. So ultimately, you get there's a superiority of force when it comes to. These are, I'm going to assume a lot of these are indirect fire rockets. In the artillery world, you have precision guided munitions. You've also got dumb rockets or, indirect, they're area fire weapon systems. So you essentially set what they call in that world a deflection and an elevation. You send it there, you know about how long it's going to burn, and you send a rocket a greater distance. So those are dumb rockets. There's also precision guided munitions. They have been, as we've shown, using cluster munitions, which is against the, UN resolutions have already been put out saying you're not allowed to do this. This was in 2008, they drafted one. In 2010, it got written into the books. No more cluster munitions, no more building them, manufacturing them, storing them. You cannot use them, but they don't care. Here's the thing. We're against a force that does not, they couldn't give two craps about abiding by any sort of international law. The value for human life is not there for them. I swear this was the quickest forever war I've ever seen, says Smiles. Smiles and the Twisted MD. Yeah, I swear this was the quickest forever war I've ever seen. Sorry, I just looked down and saw this comment. And it's not over yet. It's really not. That this conflict could go on longer. Boots on the ground is a place where I do draw a line. We have to be honest about that. None of us want boots on the ground. This is going to take some involvement from the Iranian people. And this is when Prince Pahlavi was talking about it prior to at the initial onset of this whole war, was saying, I will let you know when the time comes for you people to step up. And this has always been my critique when we start getting involved in conflicts. There might need to be, we're the combat multiplier for the resistance that has to step up. But eventually, it's got to be the people to do it, and that was all of Trump's wording. It's we're going to give them the opportunity, and I hope the Iranian people can take advantage of this situation because it's on them. It's a once in a generation opportunity. But the people pushing back against it. Look, I've got more here. These are the things that I hate when this stuff happens. So this is the Tomahawk missile strike. You probably heard about this. An absolute travesty that a children's school was hit allegedly by a Tomahawk missile. There are people, and it was claimed by, I believe, CENTCOM, who said that this actually happened, that it was bad coordinates from the Defense Intelligence Agency, from the DIA. It used to be part of a military complex. It was shaved off and turned into a kid's school ages ago, but we didn't have that updated intelligence. It was plugged into a Tomahawk, and there was a lot of there were children who were killed in this attack. And this is an absolute travesty. And I know from experience that the U.S. military does everything that it can to avoid things like this. However, there are other people saying that this wasn't actually a Tomahawk. So this is where the information gets swayed. And I'm not going to say one way or another. I'm going to go with, I won't say that. I'm going to go with what the military is telling us, what the Department of War is saying. They are saying they put in bad data, or that they were given bad data, and this catastrophic event took place. But there's also people that are going to pitch this as though it is the norm. Tucker Carlson is one of the worst of this. I'm going to skip over a couple, and this is something you guys may have seen this clip. And when I heard it, It's one of those, if you watch this channel on a regular basis, you know that sometimes people say stuff and it makes my blood absolutely boil. This is no exception. Listen to this.
Unconditional surrender means foreign troops get to rape your wife and daughter if they want. And everyone knows that. And that has been, if there's one consistent lesson of history, it means unconditional surrender means foreign troops get to rape your wife and daughter. Everyone can feel that. That's like the most atavistic instinct there is. And so to avoid that, people will do anything. And so that's why it requires that level of force to get a population subdued to the point of unconditional surrender. That's why. And so in this case, of course, we don't have the ground force necessary. I don't think Americans would voluntarily participate in it. I just don't think we can do that. It would require weapons of mass destruction. It would require presumably nuclear weapons in order to do that. And let's not lie to ourselves. We're moving toward that. Unconditional.
So Trump wants unconditional surrender. This is what he wants. Put down your weapons. Like in the, when we invaded Iraq, the military, they were waving white flags and just, rolling over on their backs and saying, we give up, or rolling over on their bellies, hands in the air, we're done. This is what Trump wants. But just like Candace Owens, who constantly builds the story, Tucker Carlson has been constantly building the ramifications of this military conflict. He can't possibly know that's where it's going to end. Which should be my second point. But my first point is the implication that the U.S. military, that would be their MO. This is always the case, as he says. Listen to him again.
Surrender means foreign troops get to rape your wife and daughter if they want. And everyone knows that. And that has been, if there's one consistent lesson of history, it means unconditional surrender means foreign troops get to rape your wife and daughter. Everyone can feel that. That's like the most atavistic instinct there is.
And an atavistic instinct, meaning it's ancestral, it's long-term. That has never been the policy of the United States. It's not. The fact that he would say this, the fact that he would imply the U.S. military, if unconditional surrender comes about, this is the ultimate end result. That and nuclear war. Why would he imply that? You guys let me know down in the comments. Why would he imply that? Some people, now, let me back up and be perfectly honest and say he could mean the military of Israel, but they ain't rolling in to Tehran. Let's be frank about that. It ain't going to happen. A country that size, little old country Israel, they ain't going to be rolling in. Donald Trump does not have the support to send boots on the ground. And so I don't think that's going to be the case. But his implication is unconditional surrender means foreign troops. Who are the foreign troops? Presumably us, is what he's implying, are going to do that to the wives and daughters. And the only way that he can bring about that end result is nuclear war. So we have heard from Tucker Carlson, it's going to be 20,000 every time we get involved in some sort of military conflict. 20,000. 20,000. When we went into Venezuela and we took out Maduro, it's going to be 20,000. When we go now into Iran, it's going to be 20,000. And it really could happen, guys. Now it's Trump wants unconditional surrender, nuclear war. I'm not living my life like that. And I give Donald Trump a lot more credit. Tucker Carlson does not. These people who say that they are America first, the things that they imply about the U.S. are 100% of the time negative. I love this country. I can criticize politicians. I can criticize bad policy. I can criticize a lot of different things. And you guys do it. We do it all the time, right? You and I, we do this. We criticize things. But at the end of the day, we love our country, and we don't think that our military is conditioned to go in and do that to the wives and daughters of our enemies. Because these are war crimes that we prosecute for people who do that. It goes completely against the very moral fabric of our country. And yet he's trying to imply that's the case. That's jacked up. And the PR thing is a real deal, because there are a lot of folks out here who believe that this is, not to mention, let me go back and say that when they start, professing, Israel, everything's Israel, 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 Israel. It's always Israel. The only reason we're doing this is because of Israel, not because of the American service members who have lost their lives and limbs and, suffer from TBI and other things from, Iran and their support to terrorist organizations all around the world, not to mention the 2 terrorist attacks we've already had in the U.S., to include the guy wearing the Property of Allah shirt, the other guy who just threw, the guy who threw a nail bomb at, was it Cam Higbee? Who was it? It was one of the conservative guys out there at one of the protests, the one who threw the bomb at the feet of the police. No, it's all, none of that. Now, Megyn Kelly, Hassan Piker, and Sneeko are all making similar posts. This PR fight, these folks believe that there is no other reason we could possibly be involved in a conflict outside of Israel just controlling us. They have Israel derangement syndrome, and it's very, very frustrating. But when you see Hassan, Megyn, and Sneeko, which I don't know if you guys know who Sneeko is, you need to watch, this is a slight departure here, but you need to watch Sneeko and Nick, is it Nick Matau? Oh my goodness. I think it was Nick Matau, Matau. They debated, and Nick Matau absolutely, Sneeko's a streamer. He's buddies with Nick Fuentes and Andrew Tate and people of that ilk. But they're on this IDS bandwagon, the Israel derangement syndrome bandwagon. And they think so little of America that Donald Trump, there's no way he's ever going to make a decision without Benjamin Netanyahu leading him around by his septum ring or something. Like a prize bull. But we're going to get it all the time. And these people who purport to be conservatives, a lot of them, Tucker, Candace is just deranged. We'll play a couple of videos of her in a little while. She's demented and I think is possessed. Maybe it's some sort of demon possession. But a lot of people are frustrated because when they had criticisms of the war, in which, look, I'm perfectly for criticizing individual actions or maybe overall policy, the war in Gaza, all that sort of stuff. I'm pro-Israel, very much so. But there were some people who said no criticism, absolutely none is allowed. And Megyn got this, Tucker got this from people that they knew, and they got very butthurt about it. And this has led to them changing their stance almost entirely and jumping on board the Nick Fuentes, Sneeko, Andrew Tate bandwagon that says everything in this world, not just in America, everything in this world is controlled by a little country the size of New Jersey over in the Middle East. But some of these people, they can say things that are correct because it's not binary where we sit on on the war situation, on our relationship with Israel. It's not entirely binary. It's not either for or against. There are antagonists that Donald Trump is having to deal with. And in my pulling up of clips of Megyn Kelly, of her posts, this is something she's actually correct on this when it comes to Lindsey Graham. Let's play this.
I want a solid defeat.
Oh, come on, X-Player. Nothing ruins the flow of a show like the X video player. Elon, can you please do something about this? Let's try it again.
A defeat. If it over there, we're getting propaganda from the administration, and then we're getting just the naysayers who report nothing but bad news for the United States, which isn't true either. I mean, it's quite a feat to have sunk their entire Navy, which we appear to have done. It's don't underestimate the power of the U.S. military, but the bloodlust by the administration spokespeople, and this guy chief among them, is very disconcerting. It's very off-putting. He then, went on to issue a warning to Spain. Okay, what are we now doing to Spain? Not to mention,
did I miss the clip?
the entire
Hang on, I might have messed this up. Let me see. No, maybe I didn't. Yeah, here we go.
Arab world.
To our friends in Spain, man, you have lost your way. I don't want to do business with you anymore. I want our air bases out of Spain into a country that will let us use them. To our Arab friends, I've tried to help you construct a new Mideast. You need to up your game here. I can't go to South Carolina and say we're fighting and you won't publicly fight. What you're doing behind the scenes, that has to stop. The double dealing of the Arab world when it comes to this stuff needs to end.
No one elected you as our commander-in-chief. Shut the fuck up. Get off the national scene. You've disgraced yourself and endangered our troops long enough.
She's not wrong there. Now, she included him in the administration, and that is disingenuous. So this is kind of my point, is people will say things that are, you're like, yeah, that's true. The overall premise behind your argument is wrong, that Israel controls the entire world and that Donald Trump doesn't do anything without Benjamin Netanyahu, who's leading him around with a dog collar on. That's not the case. But the fact that Lindsey Graham is a war hawk, has always been a war hawk, and I will continue to criticize him for his bloodlust, but he's not the administration. Donald Trump doesn't have bloodlust over this conflict. He just doesn't. So some people would probably say, well, why do you even play Megyn Kelly to begin with? I play it because we might get clips out of context, and then the algorithm, and you'll hear something and be like, oh yeah, that's accurate. And then the algorithm keeps feeding you that person's nonsense, and you're also getting fed the garbage behind their overall messaging, which is what Megyn Kelly's, at least her commentary on, the conflict, in my opinion, is trash. I don't agree with most of it, but in this instance, she's right. Donald Trump has got war hawks whispering in his ear. They don't have any confidence in him saying, get out of my office, or no, I'm not going to take that course of action. I'm listening to Pete Hegseth. I'm listening to my Department of War. I'm listening to my, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs. I'm listening to all these other people. You can take a long walk off a short pier, Lindsey Graham. I don't need you in here whispering in my ear. I'm handling this. They're going to try to lump them all together, and that's not reality. And we saw it. This one was one of my favorites. The people who who tell me, right? I always highlight the $7,000 posts. People send them to me all the time, and I usually respond with, "Hey, you're my first one. I haven't seen one of those in a while." Anytime I say something that is pro-Israel, it's like, "Oh, you're a goy," or though they usually say it wrong, they say goyim. They say, "Oh, you're one of the goy boys," or whatever it is. Get your $7,000. Here's Thomas Massey, and the dollar amounts are hilarious. From Marouk, Zaid Marouk, Sam Marouk, Ranim Marouk, Mohammed Marouk, Rihanna Marouk, Zaid, another one from Zaid. How much are these payments for to his campaign? $7,000. Hey-oh. And the guy who says, I'm America first, I'm conservative, da-da-da-da-da, and he's voted against nearly every piece of legislation that Donald Trump and the Republicans have put forward. He's a Democrat. Thomas Massey is a Democrat masquerading as a conservative. And he's also the guy that the Nick Fuentes's and people like that, the Myron Gaines of the world, they just salivate over Thomas Massey. Thomas Massey's a Democrat. Thomas Massey has gotten tens of thousands. In 7,000, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 4. There's 4 in a row, $7,000 posts or payments, and then a 5,000, a 3,500, a 3,500, a 3,500, a 3,500, a 3,500, a 2,000, a 2,000, a 5,000, a 5,000. The $7,000 donations right up front was what was hysterical, because that's what they're saying about us. Meanwhile, he's getting it from people that are friendly with the Muslim nations, who he and Tucker are monstrous fans of. We've heard Tucker talk about Sharia law, all the glorious, accoutrements that come along with Sharia law. Women dressed up like beekeepers, legalized PDFs, that sort of thing. And this was, they also, they're the conservatives, again, I'm going to put this in air quotes. This is another one. The Thomas Massey's, I'm waiting for this. I'm preempting this is my prediction. Let me just say I'm predicting this, that Thomas Massey's going to have a big old problem with this one, right? So the Dom Luker posted $22 million worth of steak and lobster near the end of the spending year. That they're feeding our troops. What is this? What are we doing? The wasteful spending giving steak and lobster to our troops. How dare we? As a guy who has experienced this, when you hear it, when they start criticizing something like this is before they deploy. So that guy, I need to somebody check his shaving profile first off. But steak and lobster is given to troops before they deploy. It's given to them before they go on really long exercises. Sometimes it's during. It's to boost morale. And it is cheap steak, burnt to a crisp, and lobster that tastes like rubber. The steak is like sand in your mouth, and the lobster is slathered in butter, and it tastes like rubber. But it's a little bit of a perk because it's better than eating MREs. And the spending hawks will say, this is lavish spending by the Trump administration. They spent $22 million worth of steak. They haven't made that argument yet, but they're going to. Trust me. My goodness. Let me get to, golly, lots of, how many World War IIIs are we at now? Oh my goodness. I don't even know, Autumn. We're at every turn, we should be on, we ought to be on at least World War VII by this point in time. Oh, let's see. Good to see you, Jennifer. Haven't seen you in a while. Jennifer Veterans for Truth. Let's see. There you go. You're not wrong. I'm starting to believe more and more. I felt like we overused the bought and paid for by Qatar line, but I'm starting to believe it more and more. At the very least, his problem, he's been talking about in most of his videos since I watched one of them all the way through. Now I get all of them, and it's just a constant loop. In fact, I've got one. It's about 15 minutes long, and I was thinking about doing just playing straight through it and giving you guys some commentary on it. But he's been doing these little monologue clips, and he is going after evangelical Christians hard, like really hard. They are on the same side as, basically implying that Christian Zionists or evangelical Christians, they're longing for the end of the world and want to do anything that they possibly can to bring about the end of the world, which is not the case. The end of the world and how that happens, I don't get into the theology behind it, but if it's true, if the prophecy in the Bible is true, it's just going to happen. It's interesting that people like Tucker and them think, well, if it does happen, anyway, you're evil for thinking that if you are an evangelical who believes that. I want to pull up another Nick Fuentes clip because this kind of plays into the same thing. That
fuck the Republican.
Oh, well, there you go. Heard that. The victim card. All of these folks, Tucker plays it, Megan plays it, Nick Fuentes plays it. They all play this victim card. And this is, again, why I say they're much more closely aligned with the left than they are the right. That the victim mentality, oh, woe is me. Nick Fuentes, who now, by the way, says he's going to vote Democrat. Tucker, I would be shocked if he didn't vote Democrat. I don't pretend to know how the guy's going to vote, but he doesn't like anything about Trump or the MAGA movement or conservatism. He's not a big fan of America. We're pretty evil if you listen to Tucker's content. Nick Fuentes, he got bullied. Listen to this. He got bullied, and so he's kind of ticked off at the Republicans.
I don't belong to the Republican Party. As a matter of fact, fuck the Republican Party. What has the Republican Party ever done for you other than piss you off? All they do is give you rage porn. All they do is create division. They say Somalians are low IQ garbage. Okay, well, did they investigate or deport any of them? No, they just made you mad about them.
We didn't say that. We said they were committing fraud. Nick Fuentes said that they are low IQ and that in his interview with Candace Owens, that he believes that's intrinsic to people with a certain level of melanin. So what we're turning it around now on, Republicans? We never said that. You did. We didn't.
They just pointed the finger and shifted the blame over there. They said, look over there. There's other bad people. And you fell for it. You took the bait. There's a problem there. Certainly. Did they solve it? No. They're not interested in solving problems. They're not interested in helping you. They are interested in deflecting blame, stirring up resentment to fuel support for themselves out of fear, and they're interested in enriching themselves. That's why they sell our country out to lobbyists. What have they done for you? Did they cut your taxes? When Donald Trump had a decision, more COVID stimulus or Amy Coney Barrett, which did he choose? Amy Coney Barrett, who sucks anyway.
He's not, by the way, he's not wrong about the lobbyist class. Give credit where credit's due. He is correct about the lobbyists. That is a cancer inside of DC. So I'm not going to disagree with him on that one. But when he's talking about them, who is them? We recognize that the old school Republican Party is bad. We have got people who are, well, let's put it this way. The people that latched on to the MAGA movement, people like Marjorie Taylor Greene, what did she do at the first sign of trouble, at the first sign of pushback, is she turned on him, boom, like that. She's not MAGA anymore. She turned on Donald Trump. Donald Trump didn't do exactly what I wanted him to do in the pace and the manner in which I wanted him to do it. Therefore, I turned on him. That sort of disloyalty, and not saying, look, disloyalty that's really what it is. It's disloyalty to the entire movement. But they thought that they naively thought that this Trump movement, that the MAGA movement was going to turn everything around in literally months. Their attacks started months into Donald Trump's presidency. Months. As if we could turn this monstrous ship of a huge bloated federal government. We could turn it around. It's like turning a tanker around in a little creek, a little back creek. You know what I'm saying? It ain't going to happen. This is a slow, arduous process. And Donald Trump is making some headway. He's not doing everything right. It's not what I'm saying. But my goodness, they turned on him within months, which leads me to believe that it was get him in office and then try to spend the next 3.5 years trying to discredit the guy so that there is no way he or anybody from his movement can carry this forward into 2028 to go on this PR rampage against him. And then the Democrats get back in, the Uniparty gets back in. Everything they're doing favors the Democrats. It doesn't favor the American people. For Nick Fuentes, listen to this. Here we go.
They don't do a thing for us. They don't do a thing for you. I'm done supporting them. And they broke all their promises. I'm done. I'm done. Call me. You can call me a lot of different things. People say he's a Democrat plant. He's a Fed. He just wants to destroy. You know one thing? You'll never call me a sucker. I will never be a sucker. I will never be a sucker for the GOP. I'm never going to vote for a party that stabs me in the back. I take my own side. The Republicans, they never wanted me anyway. They've made that clear. They see me as an anti-Semite racist. I want the country to remain white. And I don't want a Jewish oligarchy controlling America. I guess that makes me a piece of shit, I guess, right? They don't want that. They say I'm a racist, white supremacist, Nazi, anti-Semite. They literally issue resolutions disavowing me. So do the Democrats, too. Now I'm going to go and shill for Republicans. Fuck you. Deeply. I wore this stupid hat. I wore this stupid fucking ridiculous hat when I was in college, like an idiot. When I was 18, I had people threatening to kick my ass. I wore this in the cafeteria. I became a pariah. And look at what it has profited all of us. They said, no more endless wars. They said tariffs, mate, we're going to win so big. They said, we're going to build a wall. Mexico will pay for it. It just got 10 feet taller. It was a lie. It was a lie.
So this is the guy who's voting Democrat now. Interesting that you can turn on your You can turn on this movement. Charlie Kirk, by the way, we know that Charlie Kirk was interested in reforming the Republican Party because the infrastructure was there. And building something from scratch is never successful. Like, it's just not. And Nick Fuentes says, let the Republicans lose, which if we do that, we've lost this country. The borders will open back up. The laws will be written for no voter ID. We will lose power in perpetuity forever and ever and ever and ever and ever. This is the point that we have reached. Donald Trump was the disruptor, and they cannot let this happen again. This is the point we've reached. He doesn't care, and I guess he's too naive to realize that. So we do it now, and we elected Donald Trump, as I said, just like in the war, right? We elected Donald Trump to make the decisions, to see all the information that we don't see, make the decisions that we can't make. That's what an elected representative does. They do the will of the people, but they are privy to information that we are not. And he's doing it. I still trust him, and I'm going to critique him when he's wrong. But to say that I'm going to turn on this whole movement? No. We haven't lost it yet. And because he got picked on in high school or in college, like I'm going to side with this knucklehead? No, thanks. No. Yeah, and he says, oh, because I want America to be white and this, that, and the other. Yeah, I got an issue with that. Because we're not. You know? This was kind of the argument people make about Israel, that what are you most angry about? Are you angry about the ethnicity or the religion? Because it's a tribal religion. That's really what it is. And it's an ethno-state, but so is Germany. This is a great point that I think it was Nick Mattel. I'm forgetting his name. I apologize. That he was making. And I thought it is a proper analogy. America is not like Germany in that we are a melting pot. We have been for a very long time. That doesn't mean we don't have an American identity. But German our ancestry is only 200 years old, right? We have in another 500 years, that'll be a thing for America, but we're a different animal. But we still have laws on the books to keep illegal immigrants out. It's not that we don't take the Tallarico approach, which is, oh, we should have an open door policy, should have a welcome mat at our southern border. No, that's nonsense. But we have things like, our patriotism, our love for America, all that stuff is kind of wrapped up in our national identity. They have an issue with the Jews having a national identity. They don't seem to have an issue with Germany having one or the Russians having one or anything like that. Anyway, I got off track on that. But he's boo-hoo-hooing about it because he got picked on when he was in college. He didn't get the Epstein list within the first 3 months of Donald Trump being in office, and so now he's just going to vote Democrat. Well, at that point, buddy, little guy, you're a Democrat. Sorry, you're a Democrat. Sorry, not sorry. I posted this the other day. I'm going to get to some comments here in a minute because I've been going now for, how long have I been going? Oh, yeah, I've been going 53 minutes. I try to get to the comments as early as I possibly can, and you guys, thank you so much. Everybody that's down in the chat right now. Do I think that we've got some issues here in America? Yeah. Do I think that Islam, the folks that have come in illegally is part of the problem? Yeah, because it's incompatible with the West. It's not all Muslims. That's not what I'm saying. Because as I've told you before, I've known plenty of Muslims. They're wonderful. A lot of them are wonderful, beautiful people. But here's,
and we want everyone here to stay in New York. You don't get to come from outside and then tell everyone else.
So this guy was sitting out here and he was chanting and cheering for immigrants in his area. Meanwhile, an immigrant pops over his shoulder and throws a bomb. 2 terrorist attacks that we have had. Because I think this might have been a different one from Cam Higbee or whoever it was that got the nail bomb thrown at him, the one that didn't go off. Yeah, I got an issue with this. This was a Democrat problem. Is Donald Trump doing anything about it? Yeah. For border crossings, mass deportations, He's doing what he can. 2 million people roughly have left the country voluntarily. You know, voluntary deportation is a thing. Let me get to some comments here. Actually, let's see. Yeah, I had a couple other things I was going to get to, but I'm going to get to you guys first. Let's do this. All right, Tucker and Candace are both, my youngest daughter and son-in-law are both currently in the Army. Oh, God bless them. Bless their hearts. I hope they don't get deployed. I know that a lot of, you know, it's one of those things. A lot of soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marines, they want to. I always said it was kind of like, you know, I was the global war on terror generation, and we were always champing at the bit to go and get deployed. But I hope they don't. Candace, Tucker, Nick, and the Hodge twins is another one. Are all either foreigners or that's an interesting take. The Hodge twins is another one. They've got the complete Israel derangement syndrome. Like complete Israel derangement syndrome. A Sneeko posed like a lady. Andrew Tate came out and aired some of his dirty laundry. Let's just say that. You can find it over on X. I'm not going to go into the details of it, but an alternative lifestyle is something that he's into. Megan was always a Democrat. Bob says I may become Democrat. Well, more power to you. You're more than welcome to. I highly recommend, you know, we don't need a Nazi. We don't need a Nazi GOP. Let's see. I absolutely love Megan, yes. So you still love, okay. I mean, Megan, look, here's my take on Megan. She was a good reporter, but right now, her take on a lot of this stuff is she got mad because people, let's put it this way. There were people who, and I've had people do this, when I've made critiques of Israel, just like I have critiques of the U.S. or anybody else, they come out guns a-blazing and they pounce on you. That doesn't help anybody. It doesn't help the whole circumstance. We have to be able to have conversations about this. The calmer heads aren't the issue. Megan took it personally when all these other people came out and said, you know, you're an anti-Semite for this, that, and the other, even though some of it, you know, most of it wasn't anti-Semitic. But instead of saying, okay, that was criticism from these people, fine. If you're going to be that crazy, then go off and be crazy somewhere else. She took it personally and now has started to shape her content around a false narrative, which is Israel controls the world and the United States and all of that. And that's why I've backed off of Megyn Kelly. Because this is the same thing that's happened to Tucker and other people. Has been right-leaning, independent, even in her Fox days. Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong. She was center-right. Yeah, she was more center-right. But, okay, here you go. Yeah, but she is changing lately. She is. You are correct, ma'am. You are correct. Let's see. They are all losers and have viewers that share some core brain cells between 6 million people. This is the new left. The left was so bad, they had to rebrand. That's an interesting take. They're all losers, have viewers that share the same quarter of a brain cell. It's funny you mentioned brain cells. This is why I think there could be legitimate brain dead people supporting some of these folks. This is a clip I was going to show you. Here, let me see if I can pull it up here. This was posted by, I forget who it was. Well, I guess it was Dom Luker who posted it. Check this out. This is a petri dish of brain cells that they trained to play Doom. I don't know if anybody else is an 80s and 90s kid, but look at this. I mean, this is crazy. This little, I was like, is this accurate? Somebody can fact check me if this is complete nonsense. So scientists at Cortical Labs have successfully trained a cluster of approximately 200,000 living human neurons grown on a microelectrode array chip to play the classic 3D game Doom. I remember playing this game. You guys fact check me if that was accurate or not. Don't take it to the bank. I just saw it and thought, oh my goodness. You know, the days of transhumanism are absolutely here. Why should I care what someone who almost... Yeah, this is okay. Here you go. Tanya has a great point. The motive they impart on us is what they themselves are doing. Tucker knows exactly what he's doing. Nick Fuentes knows exactly what he's doing. I think Nick Fuentes he's kind of like the like a kid who gets a BB gun and he's going around shooting everybody and shooting the neighbor's cats and, you know, making a mess, and everybody's kind of ticked. He's just like causing chaos for chaos's sake. He doesn't know how to handle maybe the audience that he's got. I don't know. He is smart. I'll give him that. He is very sharp. Let's see. So many comments here. Let me see if I can find them. MAGA versus America First. This is my point. America First isn't. It's not. It's a clever phrase. It's a turn of phrase. It's not what they are. America First spends 100% of their time telling you how bad America is. It's all they do. It's all they do. It's the whole point of the show is people saying, I'm America First. America does this. America sucks at this. America sucks at that. America sucks at this. America sucks at that. It's all their that's it. It's 100% of what they say. But no, the right now acts like any sort of standard within the movement is the same as cancel culture. Interesting take, but no, the right now acts like any sort of standards within the movement is the same as cancel culture. Tucker could literally pledge allegiance to China and the right would still have him. You know, this is another thing. The right for people to say it, I've heard a lot. This is a big argument because Megan has said that people are calling for her to be deplatformed or for, Tucker says, oh, they want to shut me up. No, we actually don't. He has every right. I mean, he's not going to because I'm a tiny little channel over here on my corner of the internet. Oh, goodness gracious. Sorry about that. Oh, my apologies. This is why you turn on Do Not Disturb. I'm over here on my corner of the internet. He has every right to criticize whatever I say. I'm going to criticize the ideas that I think are wrong on his part. The motive is what is interesting to me, that the things that he's saying they're not pro-American in many sense. I mean, or in a lot of ways. And they are supportive of ideologies like I'll say radical Islam. Sharia law is radical Islam. If you say that you want to impart some sort of Sharia here in the U.S., that is a radical position to take, and not one that I agree with. And it is antithetical to our constitutional representative republic has no room for Sharia law. Yet he downplays it and tries to downplay it to a lot of people. He also says that one of the biggest voting blocks in this country is held captive by a foreign country. And in the case of Mike Huckabee, says that he loves this other country, i.e. Israel, more than he loves his own country, in which he is serving at the pleasure of the President of the United States, talks about how he loves it. His family loves it. His daughter is a governor of another state. Was an amazing press secretary. These people have been in the position of service for a very long time. But to impart some motive of, Mike Huckabee he's not loyal to America for certain. He's loyal to another country, to a foreign country, and I have a problem with that. Well, there is no evidence that Mike Huckabee is loyal to another country over his own. So it's just a lie is what Tucker is doing. Is lying to the American people, and that I've got a problem with. There you go. Exactly. I condemn his words and actions, but he still has the right to say whatever he wants to say. Oh, that's okay. No, it's all good. I didn't see the ones before. I kind of scrolled right down to the bottom. You're all good. Sorry if I missed context on that one. Let's see. Then the Russian grocery store glazing and having a new. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Oh yeah. He touts, you're not supposed to have loyalty or talk about, how great other countries are, right? It's America, just America and America only. Yet he goes to Russia and look at how beautiful these grocery stores are. And he's never been to an Aldi because putting a coin in the grocery cart and taking it through a store was completely foreign to him. So maybe his personal shopper should have given him some context or maybe schooled him on going into a grocery store before he went to one in a foreign country and said that we don't have those sorts of things here. Let's see how long you think breathing with the war. Man, lots of comments tonight. Yeah. Iran bombed the Arabs' oil first. Yeah, they were just slinging rockets anywhere they possibly could. Yeah. They the ones from golly, was it in where was the latest big one? The one in Israel. Was it in Haifa? Where was it they hit? May further when was let's see. Let's see. She knows she's full of shit. Oh, I didn't play the Candace clips. Here, let me play the Candace ones real quick. I completely skipped over that one. Cinema Shogun posted a clip here. This is I was kind of figuring out how to work this one in, and then I completely forgot about it. Let's play this. This is wild. Listen to this.
Of the opinion that he was likely sacrificed, and I want to tell you why I got there. You guys know, if you're a part of my book club, I've been doing a lot of research into Freemasonry. About a month ago, while we took a break to prepare for our Bride of Charlie series, someone sent me this. I'm showing you, this is what they sent me in the mail. Something that is known as a Freemason Bible. Now, I knew that these existed because of my studying Sigmund Freud and looking into the fact that he had inherited one from his father. The backstory of this one in particular came with a handwritten letter, is that a 33rd degree Freemason out in Oklahoma died, and all of his belongings were left in a home that was eventually auctioned off. And the person who had this in his possession, his relative was the person who acquired the home. And they went in and they burned.
There's a whole story behind it. You can get it for $10 online. Oh, the links they go to. And thank goodness we've got actual internet sleuths, people that are out here debunking a lot of this nonsense. Whoever this Cinema Shogun person is, I think this is who posted this one. Yeah. Great job. But she goes through this long, drawn-out story of how it's some artifact handed down from generation to generation and so on and so forth. Turns out you can get this version for $25.59. You can get this one for, like, they're $10. You can get the exact book that she was holding up as if it was some relic from an endearing fan. Wild. Dave Rubin posted that there was a secondary video. I'm going to play this one. And I don't know if you guys saw this. It is creepy. The end is very horrifying. But the funny part of it is Dave Rubin said, man, she's tough to look at without makeup. What a great one. Listen to this.
Has betrayed every last single one of us. Okay, make no mistake about that. Trump is now a never-Trumper. The very people that we had to fight to get Trump into office, he is now partnered with and insulting us. And he thinks that we're too stupid to notice or something. That he promised low gas prices, that he promised no more forever wars, no more involvement in Middle East conflict. And we're now getting the exact opposite. And that's happening because he's a coward. He is a coward for doing this to the American people. And that's going to be his legacy. His legacy is going to be a person who could not stand up to Bibi Netanyahu. A person who just loves
this gets
money,
creepy,
loves the
so
idea.
just be aware. Oh, AI video is getting gnarly. Ugh. But no, I thought it was funny. Dave Rubin, man, she's tough to look at without makeup. Dave Rubin, he gets some zingers every now and then. He and Piers Morgan are absolutely going at each other's throats. It's crazy. Let's see. Well, it's her accurate form, no filter. Yeah, no, no filter on that one. I was guys digging tunnels, so evil and unhinged. Candace wants to be Timu Oprah. That is hysterical. The whole branding when the Daily Wire brought her on, that was really the branding they were going for. It was like a new version of Oprah. Strange how they did it. Let's see. Ben Shapiro made Candace. Well, Ben Shapiro, the Daily Wire, pulled from obscurity. I was looking at the videos of her early on in her, I guess you would say career, but she was posing in rap videos. She was the girl wearing, all the accoutrements in the rap video. Let's see. First time I've seen your channel, I'm definitely subbing. Thank you so much. Butterfly Mama, I appreciate it. Welcome aboard. This little channel's been growing. I went through, you guys might not know it, but I went through YouTube jail for like a year. I said one thing that YouTube didn't like. I got a strike. I went through the re-education training that they require, and that didn't help. I kept making videos. I said, I'm just going to keep making videos. And I get stopped, and I still do a bit, but after 24 hours, within 24 hours, my click-through rates and all these things are astronomically high. And then all of a sudden it would stop and nobody else would see my videos, even though all the criteria, average watch time, click-through rates, all that stuff were high. It would cut off. And I found that interesting, but I just kept doing it, thinking, you know what, maybe I'll get taken out of jail. And in June of last year, I don't know what happened. Something happened, and all of a sudden the floodgates started open. But sorry, Jared, but meaning to spam your comment section, but I have a lot on my mind about it. And you have, let's see, sorry, Jared, but meaning to spam your comment section, but I have a lot on my mind about this, and you have the right over. Hey, there you go. No, it's all good. I don't see it as spamming. People who are involved in the comment section, I love it. I appreciate it. Thank you for it. Let's see. Trump talked about how bad Obama made America. Trump used to want to fix America. Well, let me go back up to the top. Sorry, but Tucker is causing terrorism and blood libel. He needs to be censored. Nah, I don't agree with him being censored. But definitely I think the pushback that small channels like myself, other bigger channels, they're pushing back against Tucker, Candace, Nick Fuentes, all those folks. And the algorithm wants it to be at the front, but I think that an equal number of people. Well, that's the wrong way to put it. The algorithm definitely wants to push that division, but who's going to win out? The people debunking it versus people like Tucker who already have a big audience. And I don't think that he's really changing that many minds, but in and of himself. But when you pile on, Nick Fuentes, who's very popular among young people, Tucker Carlson, who's getting, I don't know what his demographics are for his viewers. Candace Owens, she gets obviously a lot of viewership. Distinguishing between bots and actual views, amongst all the views, are there still people that are actually having their minds changed? Possibly. But, I think that it's for anybody out there who is changing their minds on, whether it's the Israel issue or whatever. If you're listening to Tucker, Candace, Nick Fuentes, Hodge twins, any of those folks, there has to be an opposing opinion to it, because that's what I want. I listen to leftists all the time. I kind of have to. I listen to people who agree, people who disagree. I hear people that have moderate positions on one thing and are very hardline on another. We got to have diversity of opinion out here. And, do I think Tucker's changing minds? Maybe. But I can't just sit idly by and let him yammer on about nonsense and lie to the American people. I feel I've talked about this with other podcast hosts that, when I've been on their shows, that I do this because I can't watch somebody lie to my fellow Americans, bold-faced lied, and people who are off just living their lives. They're not studying this stuff and researching it, nor, Tucker sounds so convincing, and just about anything said in a convincing way can sway somebody's opinion. But when those of us who see it for the lie that it is, I kind of have to say something. Otherwise, I can't sleep at night, right? I hope I made sense on that and didn't just yammer. Let's see. Doesn't Trump say how bad America was before he got elected? America first. Trump didn't say how bad America was. He talked about how bad the politicians were that had gotten America to where it was. Trump has loved America. Trump is old school, red, white, and blue, love this country. He's lived the American dream. He's built a successful business. These people the people like the Nick Fuentes and Tucker Carlsons, they say that, honestly, that America has never really been those things, at least the way I hear them. That America is just at its core bad. They have an alternate vision, kind of like the Democrats. They have an alternate vision for what America should be. Because if you ask them, Israel has always controlled us, right? Since we've been a developed country, we've always been controlled by Israel. Tucker is a threat to America the same way as Al Jazeera. Let's see. Overs. Yeah. Let's see. We are people with a lot to say. Yeah. Yes, indeed. We are. We've got strong opinions. We're here. Let's see. Yes, it has. It's been a great conversation. Appreciate you, Megan. Megan's one of the mods here on the channel. Let's see. Those influencers spreading cancer, they're financially able to survive communism and other hate groups. You know, point in minds. Yeah, well, okay. Valid point. This is, people that are independently wealthy, they can have some, Marx was independently wealthy, right? He got family money. And it's, when communism takes place, the people who stay rich or who are rich stay rich, and just everybody else gets poor. The middle class is what gets removed. So yeah, you can talk about all this, lovey-dovey, no war, isolationism sort of nonsense, but that's outside of reality. Not that that's Marxist, but you get what I'm saying. Let's see. When people actually realize what Trump is and not what the leftist media has portrayed him as. Yeah, and thankfully, he's still polling really well. The American people, let me see if I can find the polls. Because I was looking at this before the show tonight, and I should have pulled it up. I didn't. Let's see. Support for Iran strikes. I think it was CNN that was doing it. And interestingly enough, CNN has kind of been forced to, let's see, run the numbers. Well, where was it? That's of course military support, or former veteran military support is up for it. Let's see if we can find it. Polls for Iran strikes. Let's see. Reuters. I was talking about Trump. The American people don't like the strikes. For Trump. What was it? Dadgummit, I can't find it. Well, let me see if I can find CNN. Sorry, you guys are waiting on me. I was trying to find the numbers. They were talking about people's support for Trump. They were talking about the strikes. Initially, only about a quarter of the American people wanted us to go into the conflict in Iran, or wanted us to bomb Iran. But then there were different polls about America succeeding, and obviously the overwhelming number of people want America to succeed in the military operation. And CNN has been reporting this, I think, much to their chagrin. But I can't find it. Maybe I'll have it in the next show. We'll talk about it. But nonetheless, Trump is doing pretty good. He's doing all right. Let's see. Let me get back to comments. I want us to take its rightful place as a dominating world hegemony of power. If a world always has to have someone at the top, it always has to be for the sake of the rest of the world. Yeah, and this is a great point, because the folks that it's very Obama-esque for people to say we all need to be on a level playing field. The world just needs to be on a level playing field. And that's not been the case for the entirety of human history. There's always been a top dog. There will always be a top dog. This takes the next contender in line and knocks them down a peg or two, which is China, entrenches us in that top position. And I would much rather not just the rest of my life, but for the future generations. I would rather they live with America still sitting atop the pedestal, sitting at the top of the hill, at the top of the heap. And this certainly puts us in that position. I don't believe in this whole, it's going to be, nuclear war and all that nonsense that Tucker has been spouting. Make America first new slogan, make America first non-groiper again. Yeah. The groiper movement is honestly, it's just a bunch of ticked off young people, which they have a lot of reasons to be ticked off, but they got spoon-fed Nick Fuentes by an algorithm, and it's like, yeah, this sounds good. It's different, right? It's not the same old, and I guess impressionable folks, I don't know. They have every right to be, because they're not going to be able to. Young people aren't going to be able to afford homes. If we keep going on this path, they're not going to be able to afford homes. We've got a whole elitist system that wants to turn them into renters. The deck is stacked against them. We've got predatory banking that is driving them all into debt, increased cost of living. Their circumstances are just unimaginable, and they have every right to be pissed off. But we got to give a better alternative. There is a better alternative, and it's not, Nick Fuentes' view of, let's give in on free healthcare and education, and give up on free markets and start leaning towards socialism. And then he talks about how he likes Stalin and he likes Hitler, and it's racial superiority. And it's just this snowball effect of bad ideas. And it sounds different. And at that point, you're just buying into the same leftist nonsense, except you'll say that you'll wave an American flag every now and then, as opposed to the Democrats who are waving Palestinian flags and Iranian flags and whatnot. Although Nick Fuentes now is loving Iran, or at least hoping they're successful over the U.S. Let's see. People in America have been brainwashed to think losing and being dominated is cool. Let's see. This operation is very simple. There you go. Marca. Okay, guys. He says, love it. There we go. All right. I'm sure I missed some comments, and I apologize if I did. Funny how we never, Jennifer left some up here. We never want to calls out the group of people that look, that their book actually calls for war. And there you go. They'll play apologist for them, though. Isn't that interesting? Pulling cover for the wrong people. Let's see. Did I miss anything else? Whoo, boy. Okay. So many comments. Thank you guys so much for being here. If you're new and you enjoyed the content, feel free to hit all the free buttons below. I'm very appreciative. God bless you guys. God bless America. As I say, I'm going to be traveling for work for a while, but next week we'll have another live stream, several hopefully, and I'll see you guys then. Have a wonderful, wonderful night. Let's see. Let me see if I missed anything. Young people have outsourced anything I missed. I'm just tired of these fake MAGA or conservatives. When Trump said peace through strength. Also, Trump said it will be a short-term and long-term gain. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Valid point. Valid point. Yeah. I just think they're looking for, anything that they can possibly find to change their circumstance, because their circumstances suck, honestly. And Trump understands we have to grow ourselves out of this. I know I said I was done with everything. Now back to comments again, but they're just looking for something different. And Trump understands we can grow ourselves out of this. We've got to also cut spending. That's going to be another component. Has to be another component of it. And he's trying some new things we haven't tried in a very long time with the tariffs. And he's got people even in the Supreme Court who, not that that's a legal decision, legal opinion. That hasn't necessarily gone his way. But it is something new, but they're being told that it's not, that it's the same old. And that's just not the case. Trump is not the status quo. He's just not. Let's see. And I wish that more people would latch onto him than people like Nick Fuentes. So, and look, there's a lot of people saying that Nick Fuentes' reach is not what it looks like online, that he's heavily botted. I think that's probably part of it as well. Candace is definitely botted. And just like Hassan Piker, I played the video not too long ago. Hassan Piker's on a stream, and he's talking about Candace Owens' audience. And he says, look, her chat looks exactly like my chat. What in the world? It's bot farms that are pushing stuff into the algorithm, hoping that they can get it in front of more people and, sway public opinion, divide the Republican Party, exactly what is happening. But the extent to which that's happening, I don't know, because I can't determine between reality. When I talk to people in the real world, some of these things, the ideologies of Tucker and Candace and all that stuff, they rear their ugly heads. People are listening to it. But is it to the same level that it looks like online, to the same extent that I see it online? It looks much more magnified. It looks magnified online. So I don't know. And I'm just trying to do my part to make sure it's not being magnified. Okay. Yes. Amen to that. Thune, get your act together. My goodness gracious. Our golden opportunity, and they're squandering it. Ticks me off. Okay. Absolutely. I appreciate you allowing us to speak freely, Jared. I'm all in here to grow your channel. You're awesome. Thank you. I appreciate you. I appreciate everybody. God bless. God bless America. God bless our leaders. Pray for our men and women who are over in harm's way. I pray for a speedy end to this. I pray for the people of Iran, that they are able to find some liberation from this theocratic dictatorship that they are under. And we got our prayer list should be very long, and I'm sure it is for a lot of you folks. God bless you guys. Thanks for the conversation, and I will see you in the next video. Have a great night.